What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 7-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for this slate. This video is also sponsored by Jock Market. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on Draftkings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 7-game slate, but first you guys know we have to go over some Patreon success over here. Patreon, we had another takedown last night in the NBA single entry contest. I believe this was a $5 entry, turned $5 into $400, so congrats to this member in our Patreon Discord. We had another close takedown, $72 into $142. We had $17 turned into $44, and then also some more success over here in some NASCAR contests and NBA contests as well. So Patreon, again, $20 a month gets you access to all of our favorite GPP plays, cash plays, and our overall favorite leverage spots for every single sport going on right now. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA slate. Right now we want to cover all the current injury news. Right now we have a good mixture of pending injury news and some solidified injury news. So starting out with the Chicago game, we have Wendell Carter Jr., who is technically questionable as of right now. We're used to seeing him out. Hutchinson is out, Markkanen is out, and also Otto Porter. So we will definitely have to monitor that Chicago picture. If Wendell Carter is ruled out, that will give us some slight bumps to some of these players on the Chicago roster. With Indiana, we don't have anything going on right now that we're not used to seeing. LeVert and Warren are specifically out for these guys. With Houston, we still have Oladipo, Wood, and Exum all out for these guys. At this point, we're just used to seeing some kind of role player for Houston out. They are in a pace-up spot here versus Washington, so definitely going to be paying attention to Houston here in this matchup. Right now, Ish Smith is out for Washington. Russell Westbrook is questionable. If he is held out, that's definitely going to impact the Washington picture. Switching over to Atlanta, we have Bogdanovich, Dunn, Hunter, and Rondo all out for Atlanta. So that definitely impacts the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to hone in on them here in a little bit. With New York, we actually have Mitchell Robinson, who is going to miss some significant time here for the Knicks, so we are definitely going to be paying attention to them as well. With Philly, we have just Shake Milton out and definitely going to be paying attention to Joel Embiid, who is questionable as of right now. In a pace down spot versus the Utah Jazz, Mike Conley is out technically, so definitely going to be paying attention to Utah. They are in a slight pace up spot versus Philly. With Cleveland, nothing going on there, nothing more than the usual injury report. And then Golden State, we still have Looney and Wiseman still out. With Miami, again, nothing really going on there. And then with the Clippers, we technically have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, both questionable for them. If either one of those guys are held out, or dare I say both of them, then that's going to give a huge usage boost to a lot of these role players for the Clippers. And then last but not least, Brooklyn versus Sacramento, a huge over-under, a 237.5 over-under. I only expect that to rise, and a ton of injury news here for Brooklyn. Kevin Durant is out. Shumpert is also out, so definitely going to impact the Brooklyn Nets against the defensiveless Sacramento Kings. Now let's go ahead and switch over to the slate and break down every single team. Like I said, with Chicago, we still have some injury news out for these guys. Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable. If he is held out, that's definitely going to impact these guys even more so for Chicago. Right now, Zach LaVine is in a good spot, $9,200, averaging 1.41 fantasy points per minute with these current guys off the floor. 35 minutes is what we have him projected at, and a 50.75 fantasy point output brings them to a 5.5 point per dollar value. Then also Kobe White averaging 1.07 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court, a 5.4 point per dollar value. So I do like these guys. I just like them more so for GPPs. This is going to be a pace down spot, and Chicago is definitely going to be coming from behind probably for a majority of the game. So if they can keep it close, I definitely am a fan of these guys for GPPs. Switching over to Indiana, not too much going on here. No injuries to really hone in on. All these guys are priced accordingly. Interestingly, Miles Turner does present a good matchup, so I do like him. He always pops on our sheet, so I don't mind him. Averaging just over a fantasy point per minute, and 29 minutes right now is what we have him projected at. If Wendell Carter Jr. is held out, then I do like Miles Turner even more so. Sabonis is always a good option as well, averaging over 1.32 fantasy points per minute on the season. A 9.1K price tag right now does draw the best matchup here for this team. Going down the list, like I said, Houston does have a good amount of injuries that do impact this picture. Christian Wood, Oladipo, and Exum are held out. When you take those guys off the court, plus James Harden, it does give a slight usage boost to some of these guys. John Wall carries a 34.8% usage and a 1.2 fantasy point per minute output. So I am a fan of him right now. That does bring him to a 40.46 fantasy point output, only a 5.4 point per dollar value, but you have to keep in mind this is a revenge game going against Washington and a pace-up spot as well. Last time John Wall did play Washington, he did go berserk. So I do like him here in the spot, averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute. The only thing I don't like is his minute restriction as of right now, but that shouldn't matter given his price tag. His price tag is 7.5K, and right now he has been playing about 34 minutes. So that's more than enough minutes for him to hit that price tag. Another player that I do like is going to be Eric Gordon, 1.07 fantasy points per minute and a 28% usage. Don't mind him as well. He does benefit with these guys off the court, especially Oladipo. Somebody's going to have to fill that void, and I think the next man up is going to be Eric Gordon. Another player that's definitely going to fly under the radar is going to be DeMarcus Cousins, averaging 1.32 fantasy points per minute with Wood and Harden off the court and a 25.2% usage rate. So when you compare that to his price tag, though, 6.2K, only projected 25 minutes, a 33 projection right now, and a 5.3 point per dollar value. In terms of overall value, I do like Tate, Nwaba, Gordon, and Wall all the same. About a 5.6 to 5.4 point per dollar value, and all these guys are definitely going to be more GPP options here from this point forward, just because all the price tags are a little bit more aggressive, and Tate at a 4.6K price tag, projected in 30 minutes, is not that bad of a price tag, but the ownership is definitely going to be on guys like John Wall and also Eric Gordon. Going down the list here, we have Washington. Right now, I'm not going to talk about these guys just because Russell Westbrook is questionable. If he is held out, then Bradley Beal is going to be an absolute smash spot. He's actually in a good spot regardless, an 8.9K price tag. That is very, very low for somebody like Bradley Beal. So I am a fan of him, but it's all dependent on if Russell Westbrook is held out. If he is held out, we're going to be revisiting this team closer to lock. Going down the list here, we have Atlanta. It does have some injuries. Right now, it's going to be Hunter, Rondo, Bogdanovic, and Dunn all out for these guys. With those guys off the court, it does give a usage boost across the board to some of these guys. Trae Young does average close to 1.51 fantasy points per minute. With these guys off the court in 34 minutes, I have him projected at 49.98 fantasy points and a 5.3 point per dollar value. Also, Clint Capella averages 1.45 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court, projected in 28 minutes. Has been playing less and less minutes, but his price tag has come down significantly, so I do like him here in this matchup. Does have a relatively soft matchup at a 7.4K price tag and a 5.5 point per dollar value. So I don't mind him here. I think he presents a very good matchup, and he does get a usage boost with these guys off the floor. So my two favorite options from this team are going to be Trae Young and Clint Capella. All the other guys are just going to be GPP options for me from this team. With the Knicks actually did surprise me. So Nerlens Noel does get a significant usage boost, projected in 29 minutes with the absence of Mitchell Robinson, 4.4K and a 5.9 point per dollar value. So he's one of my favorite value plays here on the slate in a pace-up spot here versus Atlanta. If they can keep it close, which they should, it's only a 2-point spread at home. I really do like all of these guys. Julius Randle also averaging 1.34 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court. And this price tag is very intriguing, an 8.7K price tag with the absence of another guy here in the front court, projected at 37 minutes and a 5.7 point per dollar value. Derrick Rose has also been playing very well since he's been traded to New York. More of a resurgence here, projected, like I said, at 21 minutes, just more of a GPP option for me. But my two favorite options here from the New York Knicks are going to be Nerlens Noel and also Julius Randle. And now let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
Jock Market is one of the most innovative ways to play daily fantasy sports today. Just like the real stock market, Jock Market allows you to buy and sell players to earn profit based on their performances throughout the day and night. They are currently offering a variety of sports where you can enter their markets and buy them for potential gains. Unlike normal other DFS sites, once the slate starts, you can make numerous changes to your stocks by buying new players you think will continue to perform well or sell players you think are going to underperform.
Right now, they are running every sport with overlay, which gives you an easier chance to win than other major DFS platforms. Download Jock Market now on the App Store and use code DGF to receive a $20 deposit bonus. Be sure to subscribe here for all future Jock Market content. Now going down to the next game with Philly and Utah. Philly doesn't have any major injury news as of right now. Joel Embiid is questionable, so if he is held out, that's definitely going to impact the rest of this picture. He's the biggest usage guy on that team by far, so him being held out is going to impact role players like Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry. You can keep going down the line. Pretty much everybody gets a usage boost, but as of right now, we're going to hold off, and they are in a pace down spot, so be wary of that matchup. Next on the list here is going to be Utah. They are without Conley. That does give a usage boost to some of these shooters. Bogdanovich, Clarkson do get a boost, and same thing with Ingles. When we look at them in terms of value, right now, Rudy Gobert at 7.2K, averaging almost 1.4 fantasy points per minute. I have him projected at 42.56 points, and he's the best value here against Philly. If Joel Embiid is held out, I absolutely love Rudy Gobert. I think he'll be more on the chalky side. This is going to be a slight pace-up spot for them. He's a 5.9 point per dollar value. So in general, I like him. I think he's more of a GPP option if Joel Embiid is still playing, but regardless, I do like Rudy Gobert in this matchup. Derek Favors next on the list, a 5.8 point per dollar value just because he's been playing more minutes at a 3.4K price tag. And then Donovan Mitchell is a 5.5K point per dollar value at an 8K price tag. Did get a price decrease here. But all these players that are benefiting from injury, like Clarkson, Bogdanovich, did get a price increase. Jordan Clarkson was about 5.4K in his last matchup. Now he's at 5.9K. So I'm not as in love with him. I think he's more of a GPP option in this matchup just because of that heavy price increase. Going down the list here, we have Cleveland. Cleveland, no injuries whatsoever. And they all, it looks like across the board, got some price increases. So I'm going to be off of these guys just in general. I know that they're in the pace-up spot, so just target these guys in GPPs. Looking over at Golden State, the big guys are still held out. So Damian Lee does intrigue me just a little bit. Projected in 21 minutes, a 5.4 point per dollar value. A near bottom of the barrel price tag at a 3.4K price tag. Another player that stands out is Draymond Green. Assuming he does play, technically he is probable. A 6.7K price tag and a 5.3 point per dollar value. But all these guys, other than those two players, don't really intrigue me. Just GPP options across the board for me here for the Golden State Warriors. Going down the list here, Jimmy Butler is still insane at an 8.2K price tag. Did have his floor game last game. Only projected right now 46.55 points, a 5.7 point per dollar value, just because he doesn't really benefit that much with these guys off the court. When you take Dragic off the court, he gets just a minimal usage boost, but against the Clippers, this should remain competitive, and I do like him here at an 8.2K price tag for a GPP option going against Kawhi Leonard, assuming he is playing. But just besides him, all these other guys are just going to be GPP options for me. This is a low over-under at a 220.5. It is the lowest, one of the lowest on the slate. Looking over at the Clippers, not going to jump into this mess just because we have no idea what's going on with these guys yet. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are questionable. If one of these guys are sitting, we will revisit this picture here a little bit closer to lock around the time of our live stream. And then last but not least, we have the Brooklyn Nets, who are benefiting without Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving does get a nice little usage boost here. When we look at the usage boost, Kyrie Irving does carry the highest usage on the team, a 33.5% usage, and averaging the exact same fantasy points per minute as Harden with Durant off the court, a 1.41 fantasy point per minute output. Same thing with James Harden. So it's just crazy to see that Kyrie Irving does carry more usage and more minutes here than James Harden with Kevin Durant off the court. Right now, I have him projected at a 5.5 point per dollar value, and he is going to be one of my favorite options here on the slate, just going against this up-paced defense here against Sacramento. So a 9K price tag, way too cheap here for Kyrie Irving. Same thing with James Harden. James Harden is also not that bad of a GPP target, a 10.7K price tag and a 4.7 point per dollar value, but Kyrie Irving is going to be my favorite option from this team. DeAndre Jordan, also not that bad of a price tag without Kevin Durant. He's definitely going to take some of those starter center minutes, projected right now at 26 minutes and a 5.7 point per dollar value. So I don't mind him for value. Right now they are projected 120 points. That is the highest on the slate going against Sacramento. So all those guys are going to be intriguing targets for me across the board. And then last but not least, Sacramento. These guys are also going to be in the pace-up spot. You're going to want to target guys like De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton at 6.5K, and also Bagley is questionable. If he is held out, that's going to impact the big men here from this team. Guys like Hassan Whiteside will get a boost. Harrison Barnes will also get a slight boost, and Jeffries, and along with some of these other guys like B. Alicia. But that will wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.